What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. We got 10 biggest busts of the 2010s. Let's check this out.
Players were supposed to be
Mitch Trubisky, got Josh Rosen, Johnny Football,
being coach killers and lost causes. These are the
and like, bro, with Sam Darnold, I don't think he's a bust. You feel me? It's all about where you get drafted for with some of these players. You know what I'm saying? Take Baker Mayfield, for instance. You know what I'm saying? He was drafted by the Browns. He was good his rookie year, but then, you know, as time went on, everybody thought he was a bust. You know what I'm saying? Even when he went to the Panthers. Like, bro, those organizations don't know how to build up QBs and make great QBs. You feel me? So then he went to Tampa Bay, and we all see how good Baker Mayfield actually was. And now Sam Darnold this year, you know what I'm saying? He was drafted by the Jets. He went to the Panthers. He was trash on both teams. But now that he's starting out with the Vikings, he's been great so far. You feel me? So I think it's all about where some of these players get drafted.
Lost causes. These are the
like,
biggest
it's not all about, you know,
starting with
how good a player truly is, bro. It does, like, if you're on a bad team, bro, it's gonna make you look bad.
Led the quarterback class in the 2017 NFL draft, and somehow
but Trubisky was just dog shit.
So much so, they traded 4 picks to the 49ers to move up 1 spot to second overall. But why did the Bears GM Ryan Pace settle on Trubisky? Well, he had the measurables at 6'2", 220 with a 4.67 40-yard dash, and in his 1 season as a starter at North Carolina, Trubisky had good production with 35 total touchdowns.
That's 1 season, though.
What really made Pace a former Saints exec
can't just go based off 1 season game.
He saw a lot of Drew Brees in him. And
oh my gosh,
the glaring red flags. At UNC, Trubisky's supreme athletic ability overshadowed his inconsistency. So there were always questions of if he could master the mental part of the game. And there were also doubts about his leadership ability. Those suspicions were confirmed almost as soon as Trubisky entered the NFL. The Bears coaches saw that he wasn't ready as a passer, so he started his rookie season on the bench. It wasn't until week 5 that they decided to make him the starter, replacing Mike Glennon. And in 12 games,
Mike Glennon is dog shit too.
As many interceptions as touchdowns, while averaging just 6.6 yards per attempt. Chicago finished the year 5-11, and head coach John Fox was fired. The funny part is that the Bears hired Matt Nagy from the Chiefs, who was part of the regime that drafted Mahomes 10th overall. And Trubisky did improve under Nagy, but he never became a guy who could win games with his arm. He never toughened up either. He couldn't keep his emotions in check on the field and let outside criticism affect him a lot. During a rough stretch, that's
why you see a lot of players, you know what I'm saying, like they delete Instagram and Twitter and shit throughout the regular season, bro, so they can just focus and not worry about what people are saying about them. You know what I'm saying? That's smart. So I think Tyreek Hill does that.
His Bears run ended with a loss to the Saints in the 2020 wildcard round. But at least Trubisky lasted 4 seasons in Chicago, because the next player on this list barely got 1 season with the team that drafted him. Trent Richardson was a stud at Alabama.
Yes, he was, bro. Alabama Damon, bro.
And scored 24 total TDs.
Come on.
Tide won the Natty. But was he good enough to go 3rd overall to Cleveland, who traded 4 picks to the Vikings to move up?
And I'm telling you, bro, only Cleveland can do some dumb shit like this. Like, look at this, bro. Come on, like, bro, the Cleveland Browns got fleeced right here. They got fleeced with Deshaun Watson.
Obviously not. But
like,
even at the time he got drafted, there were signs that picking him that high was a risk. He got his knee scoped 2 months before the draft and needed another scope during training camp. Then, during the season, he cracked his ribs. To Richardson's credit, he played through the pain and finished his rookie year with 950 yards and 11 touchdowns.
Okay.
But his decline was already underway. Cleveland changed coaches in the offseason, from Pat Shurmur to Rob Chudzinski, and the new regime didn't like what they saw from Richardson. So 2 weeks into the 2013 season, the Browns made a shocking move. They traded Richardson to the Colts for a 1st-round pick in the 2014 draft, and that deal turned out to be bad for both sides. Richardson kept regressing, and then he got suspended.
Hold up. Did I hear that right?
From Richardson. So 2 weeks into the 2013 season, the Browns made a shocking move. They traded Richardson to the Colts for a 1st-round pick in the 2014
The Colts really gave up a 1st-round pick for this nigga? No way.
Draft.
No
and
way.
That deal
no
turned
way.
out to be bad for both sides. Richardson kept regressing, and then he got suspended from the 2014 AFC title game after missing a walkthrough without telling the team.
Damn.
Just a few weeks later, the Colts released him. He signed with the Raiders, but after more health issues, was cut from camp in 2015. In 2016, the Ravens gave him another shot, but then another knee issue surfaced, and Baltimore cut him in camp. His final years of ball were spent trying to
always
prove
bring
he
in
should
injury
be in the
prone
NFL,
niggas, bro.
spending time in the CFL, the AAF, and even a league in Mexico, but no team brought him back. As for the Browns' end of the trade, somehow the outcome was worse because they used the first-round pick the Colts gave them to trade up and draft Johnny Manziel.
Oh my gosh, bro. Talk about a lose-lose trade. They really bro. That is nasty work. How the fuck do you fleece a team and then just end up not doing anything with it? That shit is crazy.
Now, going into the 2014 draft, the Browns were coming off 6 straight losing seasons. They recently hired another new coach in Mike Pettin, and they were desperate for some sort of light.
Bro, how many head coaches have the Browns
with
had,
an extra
bro?
First-round pick from the Trent Richardson trade, why not take a chance on a big-name Heisman Trophy-winning quarterback, right? Wrong, because Johnny Football had issues. Manziel lit up college football with his wild improvisation ability and crazy throws at Texas A&M. And in 2012, he became the first freshman to win the Heisman Trophy. But from that moment on, his life off the field was a mess. He became a mega star, constantly seen partying with celebrities,
Drake,
courtside at
KD.
NBA games, and spending copious amounts of money before NIL was a thing. His money fingers gesture hit differently after that. But Manziel left College Station after the 2013 season so he could go to the NFL and make money legally. So, where do you send the larger-than-life athlete who loves partying and fame? Cleveland, as the Browns moved up 4 spots to take him 22nd overall. Manziel might have even become decent with some effort, but he hated the city and hated the grind that came with being an NFL quarterback. He admitted in a 2023 Netflix documentary that he watched 0 film with the Browns.
Their GM's calling me going,
that's your fucking problem.
I'm like, well, he's got to watch some tape. It's like, EB, his iPad hours is 0.00.
0.
And was even seen partying in Vegas the night before a game. By February of 2016,
It's
Manziel's
crazy.
agent dropped him as a client. And as of March of 2016, Cleveland released him. After his time in the NFL, he was driven into a deep depression and struggled with addiction. In 2018,
Well, whose problem is that? And it gets sound like a skill issue to me.
Still wasn't.
You ain't
the
watching
priority.
film and
His NFL career
shit.
consisted of 14 games. He threw as many interceptions as touchdowns while completing just 57% of his passes and going 2-6 as a starter.
That's
but
crazy.
The Browns had 2 first-rounders in 2014 because of the Richardson trade. So what did they do with the other pick? Well, they'd have been better off giving it away because they took another bust, Justin Gilbert. He went 8th overall, 14 picks before Johnny Manziel. For context, Odell Beckham Jr. went 12th overall, Aaron Donald went 13th, and Zach Martin went 16th. But like Manziel, Gilbert had a poor work ethic. His own teammates called him out publicly for being immature. And in 2015, he was even suspended for a game for being late to a team meeting. He caused problems off the field too. In 2015, he drove his car into a ditch in a road rage incident. And in 2016, the Browns gave up on him after 2 seasons. Just like they did with Manziel, they traded Gilbert to the arch-rival Steelers. Pittsburgh cut him after 1 season. And then the NFL suspended him for a year for violating the substance abuse policy. Gilbert never returned to the league after that. And never has a team royally botched the first round of a draft as bad as the Browns did in 2014. But sometimes a team drafts the right player and they just run into bad luck, like Robert Griffin III.
Oh, yeah.
RG3's rookie season was
Injuries,
truly
man.
something special. In the 2012 draft, Washington traded 4 picks to move up from 6.
Shit, I wouldn't really even call this a
Wasn't long
bust, bro.
before
Like,
the 2011
I don't think a player is a bust just because they get hurt, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's just unfortunate. I think only the reason a player can be considered a bust is if they play horrible. This nigga was still good, bro. Just injuries really fucked up his
Heisman
career.
Trophy winner was running the offense in the nation.
Like Josh Rosen, that's a bust.
Changed the quarterback position in the NFL with their read option attack. As a first-year starter, Griffin threw for 3,200 yards and ran for 815. He also beat out Andrew Luck, the first pick of the 2012 draft, for AP Offensive Rookie of the Year. But this is where the bad luck comes in. In Week 14, Griffin suffered a knee injury against the Ravens. And if that was all that had happened, he may not have been on this list. But Griffin returned to the game for a few snaps before being removed. Afterward, there was controversy over whether
and I think he was rushed back. Yeah, he was rushed back too early from that injury.
Orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews said Griffin didn't let him examine his knee on the sideline right away. Then, after missing the next game, Griffin was back for Week 16. Under his leadership, Washington made the playoffs. But then came the biggest mistake of RG3's career. During Washington's wildcard game against Seattle, he tried to field a bad snap late in the fourth quarter.
That shit was nasty.
His leg bent the wrong way as he chased after the ball, and he tore both his ACL and LCL. Washington head coach Mike Shanahan took a ton of heat for letting RG3 play on a bad knee.
For real.
Griffin accepted some responsibility too, saying he accepted the risk of playing injured.
But like, bro, if you're the head coach, my nigga, like, just sit his ass down somewhere, gang. You have the authority to sit this nigga down. Like, bro, why let him play knowing damn well he wasn't 100%?
Was never the same.
Come on, bro.
Griffin struggled in his second year before getting hurt more, and then was replaced by Kirk Cousins.
Damn.
He lasted 4 seasons in D.C. before signing with the Browns in 2016.
He's a former Raven,
later,
too.
He was cut by Cleveland, and he finished his career with the Ravens, serving as a backup and mentor to Lamar Jackson. And speaking of players whose careers were derailed by injuries, we present to you Kevin White.
And then this nigga got fired for eating a croissant.
As in, right after he was drafted 7th overall by the Bears in 2015. During OTAs his rookie year, he suffered a season-ending stress fracture in his leg. In 2016, he was done after 4 games because of a high ankle sprain and fractured fibula. Then, in 2017, he didn't even get past week 1 after breaking his scapula going over the middle. 3 season-ending injuries in as many seasons. White's career was toast.
And I don't think he was a bust either, bro. It's just injuries, bro. Like, I said this before, but I just don't think injuries can really determine if a player was a bust or not, bro. He just could not stay healthy.
Season 2018, the Bears sealed the deal. They brought in Taylor Gabriel and benched White. White finished that year with 4 catches for 92 yards. He actually played 3 more seasons, jumping from Arizona to San Francisco.
Being a career backup, bro, is not a bad gig, bro. You get paid millions of dollars to just ride the bench. Shit, I would do anything to be in that situation, nigga.
Numbers totaled 30 games, 28 receptions, 397 yards, and 0 touchdowns. But it didn't take injuries to ruin the career of Josh Rosen. He did that all by himself. Josh was never really all in on football, which was a fear many teams had about him going into the draft. He had lots of interest.
Some other teams made mistakes. Yeah, no, the Cardinals was the one who made the mistake, nigga.
Because Rosen supplied just enough good play at UCLA to demand NFL teams make him a first-round pick. And in 2018, the Cardinals did just that, selecting Rosen 10th overall. He was the 4th QB taken in the draft.
There were 9 mistakes
Sam
in front of him.
and Josh Allen. And Rosen was the worst of the 4. He struggled with accuracy.
And all 4 of those guys are starting still in the league.
All the stuff that makes quarterbacks good, finishing his rookie season with 11 touchdowns and 14 picks. The Cards finished the year 3-13. So that offseason, they changed coaches. And unfortunately for Rosen, the new guy, Cliff Kingsbury, wanted his own QB. So
Kyler Murray.
Pick of the 2019
Kyler's a freak, bro. Is glazing Kyler, bro.
Went Rosen to the Dolphins in a day 2 trade. In 2019, Rosen made 3 starts for Miami after Ryan Fitzpatrick was benched. He went 0-3, threw 3 interceptions.
Nah, bro. Benching Ryan Fitzpatrick for Josh Rosen has got to be the most diabolical work I've ever seen, bro. What the fuck are y'all doing, Miami?
And that was it for him. In 2020, Miami cut Rosen a few months after drafting Tua Tagovailoa. Josh would spend 1 more year as a backup for Matt Ryan.
He was in Atlanta?
Being out of the league. But we can't talk about busts from the 2018 draft without also mentioning Sam Darnold.
He's not a bust now.
Entered the league,
I don't think he
just wasn't ready for the NFL. He had played just 2 seasons at USC and was only 20 years old. Still, the Jets traded 3 second-rounders to move up 3 spots and select Sam 3rd overall. In week 1 of his rookie year, Darnold was named the Jets starter. His debut was on a Monday night.
Yeah, his first pass was an interception. Pick 6, I believe.
He threw a pick 6 on his first play from scrimmage.
That shit was crazy.
Decently in a Jets blowout win, but Jets Nation had been introduced to the Sam Darnold experience. So where did it go wrong for him? Well, maybe it was when he got mono in his second season.
They told me I had mono. and I immediately like started laughing, thought they were joking.
And ESPN posted an update that turned into a legendary meme. There was no coming back from that. Or maybe it was a certain Monday night game against the Patriots.
Oh, he was saying he was seeing ghosts.
On a hot mic saying he was seeing ghosts.
Seeing ghosts.
Says Bill Belichick blitzed him into oblivion. No coming back from that either. A year later, the Jets were done.
And Bill Belichick was trolling them that game too.
He was 13-25 as a starter and threw 39 interceptions. So, in the 2020 offseason, New York traded him to a desperate Panthers team for picks. Darnold's struggles continued in Carolina, but he did beat Gang Green in a revenge game. In 23, he signed with the Niners to back up Brock Purdy, and this year, he joined the Vikings, where he'll get another shot as a starter. But while Darnold has managed to carve out a decent career for himself as a journeyman, Justin Blackmon lasted just 2 years before making a shocking exit from the NFL. Blackmon balled out at Oklahoma State. His last 2 years
what the fuck you got in the corner? Now we got some white shit.
233 receptions for 3,304 yards and 38 touchdowns. However, off the field, Blackmon was fighting demons. His drinking and drug use were spiraling out of control, and a DUI arrest his sophomore year brought it out into the open. But Justin was allowed to keep playing. The charges were later reduced, and he didn't have any more legal issues in college, so his draft stock didn't take a hit. And when the 2012 NFL draft rolled around, Blackmon was rated as the top wideout prospect. After the Jaguars moved up to
who else was in that draft class?
He was expected to be an instant star, but then his past issues emerged again. In June 2012, he was arrested again for a DUI. And before he even played a game, Blackmon was in the NFL's substance abuse program. Despite that, he had a decent rookie season with 64 catches for 865 yards and 5 touchdowns. But even his success couldn't help him shake his addiction. Blackmon violated the drug policy again, and in 2013, he was suspended for the first 4 games of the season. Another violation during the season got him suspended indefinitely.
This is a kid that's had so many chances that really hasn't been able to turn it around. And once in a while, guys, you run out of chances.
And here's where the story takes the weirdest turn. Blackmon never applied for reinstatement. He ghosted everyone. After another DUI arrest, it became clear that he disappeared back to Oklahoma. But still, no one knows the full story. However, it didn't take much legwork to figure out that the next player on this list was going to struggle to live up to his draft position.
Cleveland Farrell?
In 2019, the Raiders reached for Cleveland Farrell when they took him 4th overall. He was an excellent pass rusher at Clemson.
This nigga wasn't even at the damn... He wasn't even out the draft, bro. Bro was sitting at home and drafted number 4 overall, bro. Like, usually when you see, like, players get drafted in the top 5, bro, they're usually, you know what I'm saying, at the damn draft and shit. But this nigga is at home. That's how you can tell they reached for this
Cleveland Farrell when they took him 4th overall.
Richmond too, he's from VA,
but he wasn't a top 5 prospect. The John
Gruden from my state gang
Raiders thought he was, and then Farrell showed right away that he wasn't. He had 4.5 sacks in 15 games as a rookie, then 2 sacks in 2020, 1.5 sacks in 2021, and 2 sacks in 2022. That's 10 total sacks in 4 seasons.
That's tough.
By the time Farrell left the Raiders as a free agent,
he got a crop top on for?
Gruden and Mayock were long gone. So why didn't Farrell work out for the Raiders? Part of it was that he looked better in college than he actually was. He played in a loaded Clemson defense. Guys like Dexter Lawrence than he actually was.
I didn't even know Christian Wilkins and Dexter Lawrence played on the same Clemson team.
In a loaded Clemson defense. Guys like Dexter Lawrence and Christian Wilkins played with him on the D-line. Wilkins went to the Dolphins 9 picks after the Raiders took Farrell. And so, Farrell is a warning to teams that want to reach for talent. But sometimes teams just fall in love with a player, especially if that player has elite speed. And John Ross had that in spades. In 2017, Ross became a draft legend with his then combine record.
Now Worthy broke that.
Yard dash time. The Washington wideout broke Chris Johnson's 2008 record by 2/100ths of a second and skyrocketed up the draft boards. The Bengals ended up taking Ross with the 9th overall pick. They already had AJ Green and Brandon LaFell, but Ross's speed would add an entirely new element to their offense. However, Ross barely saw the field as a rookie. A preseason knee injury and an in-season shoulder injury kept him on the sideline. He took just 17 offensive snaps and caught no passes in 3 games. After a modest 2018 season, he was showing out at the start of the 2019 season. He had a big week 1 and was contributing in every game. Then came the injury that wrecked his career and almost ended his life. In week 4, Ross took a hit from Steelers corner Joe Hayden. The tackle caused a shoulder sprain sprain, which might not sound too bad at first. However, after a couple tests, a doctor told Ross that a joint in his chest came very close to severing an artery. Ross might have missed 8 weeks, but he avoided a tragedy. Unfortunately for Ross, the injuries never stopped, and he finished his career with just 62 catches for 957 yards and 11 touchdowns. If you enjoyed this video, stick with Blitz, subscribe, and never miss another.
Who do y'all think was the biggest bust? You know what I'm saying? Out of these guys, obviously, I think it's Josh Rosen. You feel me? But I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Y'all let me know what other NFL videos y'all want me to react to. Without further ado, I'm out. Gang!